What a mess in Philadelphia right now. We talked about Ben Simmons the past few weeks on Outside the Box, but each week new stuff arises that we have to talk about. And what a mess. So, recap, postseason, loses every bit of confidence he ever had, never developed a real shot in the NBA, and then does a lockout. Doesn't talk to the team, refuses to do anything in the offseason, does his own thing, and then we're like, well, probably never going to see Ben Simmons suit up for the 76ers again. Probably never going to talk to him, and then all of a sudden just, hey, randomly, hey, I'm back. I know I missed media day. I missed the preseason, but I'm outside the facility right now. Let me come and take my COVID test and get ready. So then a few days later, Ben Simmons practices with the team. We're like, okay, progress is being made. And all of a sudden, we hear Doc Rivers kicks him out of practice. Ben Simmons just refused to do a drill. And Shams reported it one way, Woj reported it the other way. One said he dropped the ball and walked out. One said he walked out with the ball. That's a huge piece of detail that...
I saw another one that said he passed the ball to Matisse Thybulle, and then he walked out.
Dude, this is what we actually need to talk about, is what actually went down. Figure that one out. Bunce gets kicked out of practice, and they're like, you're suspended for this game. And so, this is where we're sitting right now. What do you make of this situation, Dylan?
You said it was a mess coming into this segment, and that is the exact word that I have. I think it's a mess for Ben Simmons. I think it's a mess for the Philadelphia 76ers, and I think it's a messy look for the NBA in general as well. The sooner this is over, the better it is for everybody. But with the latest updates, with Daryl Morey on the radio earlier today, talking about how he'll wait it out, I don't know if sooner is going to actually happen.
Dude, I have some thoughts on Daryl Morey doing that. He goes on a radio show to talk about this instead of having like a press conference or something. Or that's a middle school type of thing to do. Just go in there and talk bad about your player.
It's not professional at all. And I saw reports coming out today. Well, I shouldn't say reports, but at least comments on his radio statements. And it was, yes, Daryl Morey, is he good at his job? Yeah, I'd say he's a pretty solid GM in the National Basketball Association. But he's got to be one of the most unprofessional ones.
Oh, my God.
Like, there's so many just public statements, and you're like, you don't see this from anybody else except Daryl Morey. And it just really does make you think. And you go, and like you said, there's no press conference. It's just on a radio. And his exact quote earlier today was, people should buckle in. This is going to be a long time. And then he continues with, you're going to think I'm kidding. I'm not. This could take 4 years. We're in the prime of Joel's career. This is not a day-to-day issue. Every day we are going to expect Ben Simmons to be back here, or we trade him for a difference maker. And that last piece about trading for a difference maker really doesn't
happen.
I hope it does. I hope it does for the 76ers' sake and for Ben Simmons' sake, because I think that a breakup is beneficial for both of them at this point.
Oh, yeah, it has to happen. It has to happen. But, like, what do the 76ers do? At this point, you're not going to get a playmaker. I heard the best they were going to get is CJ McCollum. I think that's off the table. I don't even think they get CJ.
No, if I'm Portland, I'm not. I'm laughing and I'm hanging up the phone if they ask for CJ McCollum. But I do think there are playmakers on the market, but I think that Philadelphia first has to drop their asking price on Ben Simmons. I mean, teams like the Kings could use Ben Simmons, someone like the Cavaliers.
And play 5, 6, 10 guys in their starting lineup.
If the Cavs get him and then they put Ben Simmons at the 1, put Laurie at the 2, Kevin Love at the 3, Evan Mobley at the 4, and then we're going to make it fun and put Taco Fall at the 5.
Dean Wade, baby.
No, Dean Wade can be the nice scoring 6-man off the bench, but Taco's in that starting lineup if you want height.
Taco time. But it's just a standoff right now. It's just two people who have their guns drawn, pointing. Neither one. It's just a negotiation that's not going anywhere because they're not actually talking to each other negotiating. It's, hey, I'm going to say this to this one reporter. I'm going to go on a radio show and say this. Dude, that's not going to go anywhere. You're just gossiping about each other and hoping that it goes somewhere.
It's a bunch of behind the back stuff, and that it's just making the situation worse and worse. And going back to potential targets, I think the Spurs could use him. I've heard rumors in the past that Popovich kind of like Ben Simmons. And if there's anybody that can fix Ben Simmons, Popovich is the guy. I mean, his players love him. You could go with the Rockets. Someone that people don't really talk about anymore is John Wall. He's still in Houston.
Troop 41's talking about him, bro. They wrote a song about him.
That's a little outdated. But John Wall's still down in Houston. And he's actually talked with the organization face-to-face, and they've mutually decided that John Wall isn't going to play games for him. So why take up a roster spot? Houston wants to rebuild. It's not the best fit, but a John Wall for Ben Simmons swap, the contracts should roughly match up. John Wall's might be a little bit bigger, but Philly gets that playmaker that they need. He's not a great shooter by any means, but he isn't not confident when shooting the ball either. He's going to shoot the ball, whether you like it or not at times. And then Ben Simmons, he can go down to Houston, and he can work on rebuilding his career and maybe rebuilding the Houston Rockets as one of the main guys next to Jalen Green.
I think rebuilding team's the best fit for Ben Simmons. I don't think anybody that's contending right now wants to take the risk of having a guy who's just going to be a black hole in offense. But a rebuilding team, I don't know if they want him either. And I don't know if the 76ers want to make a trade with a rebuilding team because who are they going to get? I think John Wall is your best option that you're going to get.
Here's the sleeper. For the Cavs, first of all, I have Colin Sexton. But that might be a bit too much asking price at this point in time. But Colin Sexton didn't get his rookie extension with Cleveland. So to make the money work, they could also get rid of Kevin Love. That's two guys that might not want to be in Cleveland for a young guy that you can maybe build around. Colin Sexton, Kevin Love, that kind of fits what Philly's doing right now. But a team that no one ever talks about, and it's maybe because these guys just got there. That could be a very true reason. But the Washington Wizards, if you send Ben Simmons to the Wizards and you can maybe get a Spencer Dinwiddie back with maybe a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Kuzma.
I doubt Kuzma gets moved, but he could be a piece if that's what the 76ers are wanting. I don't see how the 76ers would want him with the fit of their roster. But Spencer Dinwiddie, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, maybe a couple seconds if they need to. But I think that's the best playmaking option that they have. And it's never talked about because, like I said, Spencer Dinwiddie, he just got to Washington this offseason. And to be quite honest with you, since he did just sign there, he might not even be available to trade yet. But the Wizards are a team that I would kind of keep my eye on because they're not tanking, they're not rebuilding, but they're also
weird
not.
Spot.
Yes, very weird spot to be in.
Yeah, I don't know what the 76ers do. And I feel, how long has this been going on? 3 months? They've been
maybe a little bit longer than that. I mean, it's been a while. What? No, not April. So May.
Summer-ish is when they got bounced.
I'm thinking it's closer maybe to 4 to 5, but my math could be off.
But anywho, they've been trying to look for trades for a while now, and nothing. We haven't even gotten close. It's not even like they're really engaged in talks with this team. It's just been nothing. So
there were reports a while back that the Indiana Pacers were interested, and there's maybe a deal around Malcolm Brogdon. And that's a dude people don't talk about enough either, since we're talking about a bunch of underrated people today. But that's not going to happen anymore because Malcolm Brogdon recently got extended. And that extension, I know for a fact, makes him not tradable. So there's really nowhere else for Indiana to trade for Ben Simmons, but that was talked about a few times by Woj.
Is Ben Simmons playing his cards right?
At this point in time, I think he played his cards right originally. I think he left the team. Now, was it the most mature way to do it? Probably not. I think I would have told him beforehand, hey, don't try and contact me. I'm leaving. Just try and move on from me. I think that would be the more professional way, but he did try and leave. He didn't want anything to do with it. He didn't want to, I guess, I don't know. I can't say he didn't want to be a distraction because at the end of the day, he has been. But he left, and he left the 76ers alone. But it's the 76ers that kind of messed this up. They put his money on escrow and kept saying, hey, come back, like they didn't publicly blame and trash on him after the playoff loss to the underseeded Atlanta Hawks. So at this point in time, Ben Simmons is just doing what he wants to do just to get out of Philly as fast as possible. And while it's not the most mature or it doesn't look the most professional, it's something that he just feels like he has to do. He feels like this is the best step for him to get out of Philly at this point in time. I mean, I can't tell you a time I've ever seen anybody show up to participate in a practice with a phone in their pocket, and then when you see them walk off the court, you can see the fact that the phone is on in his pocket. That happened 2 days ago. That's a bizarre thing I've never seen before either. So while, yeah, he's not maybe playing his cards the most professionally, I think he's playing his cards most effectively.
He wasn't showing up to practice to be a part of the team. I think that was a business move.
It was for his money that was in escrow. They held $8.25 million in escrow, and they told him, if you don't show up and if you don't go to practices and games, we're just going to take the fine money out of this money that's in escrow. And whenever you show up and you decide to start participating, whatever money is left over in that escrow account, we're going to give back to you. So he showed up for the money. They incentivized this whole thing and almost, I don't want to say bribed them to come back, but they highly incentivized them to. But they expected him to show up and act like he wanted to be there when he clearly didn't want anything to do with the organization anymore. And to be honest with you, I can't blame him, because they did publicly trash him over and over again. And now they're just acting like that didn't happen. Self-accountability has to happen at some point for Ben Simmons. Don't get me wrong on that. But at the same time, if you're a team and you're an organization and you took him number 1 overall and you tanked for years to get the pairing of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and then one bad series, you're going to pin it on one guy, trash him, and then be surprised when he doesn't want to come back, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I'm not a guy who dabbles in Reddit by any means. Like, I've probably been on there 6 times in my entire life, but I did see this from Siege Jones on Reddit. He said, Ben Simmons played it smart. Ben Simmons reported only to get himself suspended. It's brilliant. Now the players' union has to pick a side on the salary issue while he is suspended, and the team basically has no choice but to trade him. What's even more intriguing is that the 76ers can't get proper value for him, meaning that wherever Ben Simmons go, the team will remain largely intact, almost guaranteeing success for the team. End quote. And I gotta agree with this. They're putting the CBA in an uncomfortable spot. Nobody's gonna give up much, so wherever Ben goes, the team's gonna be pretty much the same, amplifying what they can do. And now he's getting his money. And another thing is, I guess the 76ers have to pay him since he reported, and then Doc suspends him, so he forfeits the money, and now the union has their hands tied.
But since showing up, the reports are that he has not made any money back.
But now
he's still sitting at a financial loss, even after the times that he showed up.
But reportedly now that he's shown up and that he's faking an injury, and we discussed this, there was things that came out today that he has a back injury. And
back tightness is what it's
and they're working on
as.
that. And that would be a way to get his money, since he could claim injury and then get that salary, which I'd think this is a fake injury, but he's getting his money.
He showed up today for a scheduled workout. He showed up to the team facility, and then he left the team facility without doing the said workout. He said the reports are from Woj that he showed up, claimed he had back tightness. The medical staff looked at him, cleared him to participate in the workout, but he just didn't. And then a later report from Shams said that Ben Simmons has his back tightness, but that he's also not mentally ready to play for the 76ers in the organization again. And that as of right now, he is out for Friday, while even though the 76ers hope he joins a shoot-around on Friday, which... If it goes at this rate, it's not happening. But he's out Friday, and then he's out for the future indefinitely at this point.
Yeah, it's a standoff at this point. I think he's faking the injury to get the money. Mental health is a huge priority, and it should be talked about way more. I'm not sure if to believe, though, if he's actually not mentally prepared to play for them.
I could see it. I mean
I can see it.
I'm whole off season, wanting nothing to do with him, and then you're almost just kind of forced back. And he's been there 10 days at this point to mentally adjust to all that. Even though he did do it to himself. Let's not get anything mixed up about that here. But it is a lot mentally, and I can understand where he's coming from. I don't buy the back tightness story, but the mental confidence part. There's so much to the game of basketball that is confidence. It's vastly underrated. People want to talk about size and skill set, speed, athleticism, all that. All that goes out the window if you're not confident in what you're doing. And if he's not confident in what he's doing right now, then he's going to be a liability on that court, and things are only going to get worse from him from here.
Yeah, I'm not going to judge a man's mental state. I'm not going to try and guess what's going on in his head. That's just something you don't do. You never know what's going on in somebody's head, so you don't judge.